Hello, Eurovision friends. Thank you so much for coming to my channel, Eurovision Histories. Today, I want to do another episode of my series Pro Contra, in which I try to find all the arguments for a country and an entry winning Eurovision and all of the arguments against a country and an entry winning Eurovision. And today, I want to do Angelina Mango and Italy. So, ciao tutti. Some of you wanted me to do this in Italian because I did the Slimane video in French, but I'm not ready for that. Maybe next year. I also already did Baby Lasagna and Nemo, so check out these videos, and more videos in the series will be coming up shortly. So let's start with all the pro arguments I could find, and also thank you for your comments in the community tab of my channel. I used a lot of your arguments for this video, so this is really a group work kind of thing. Now, the first argument for Angelina Mango winning Eurovision is Angelina herself, because I have really fallen in love with her as an artist, and I think a lot of people have, with the spontaneity with which she performs, the energy she puts into every single performance, her incredible charisma as such a young up-and-coming artist who just won Sanremo, but still, she is a new artist and she already knows how to own that stage completely. The spontaneity of the whole performance, nothing seems over choreographed. She really lives the song in the moment. The vocal performance is always on point and really, really good. She knows how to interact with the camera as well, which for such a young artist is also amazing. And I also love the tension between this bored look on her face and the energetic performance, which completely fits the message of this song, and also kind of creates this interesting tension that makes you notice the performance and think, what is this about? Why is this so interesting to watch? And it keeps you engaged. She keeps you engaged as a performer. And of course, that is very, very important on a Eurovision stage. Now, the next pro argument is the song itself, and I think that it is a perfect compromise. I have talked a lot about Italy and this song possibly doing really, really well in the televote and the jury vote. And by doing that, winning the whole competition without necessarily winning either of these two separate votes, because the Netherlands or Croatia might win the televote, Switzerland or France might win the jury vote, and then Angelina Mango wins the whole competition by doing a Duncan, or what Duncan Lawrence did, what Jamala did, and being really good in both and taking the trophy home to Italy. Now, why do I think that is possible? I think it is a very memorable song and very catchy as well. The La Noia Total stays in your head, which is very good for the televoters. The very energetic performance also helps it. It seems like a dance pop number in a way, and televoters will go for that and will like that because it is an up-tempo song, which televoters usually like. However, when you look at the composition, at the music, at the production as well, you notice how intricate it is, how well produced it is, and that is something that the juries will really go for. It also doesn't seem like it was made to be catchy in a way, if that makes sense. It isn't produced the way that some pop songs are produced, in a very similar way like everything else we have heard before, all the hits on the charts. This seems very, very fresh, and that is why I think the juries and the televoters might go for this. I also think it has many different styles in one song, many different musical references to different regions of the world in a way. There's Latin music, there is a Spanish guitar, there are elements that seem very Mediterranean, other elements that seem almost Balkan. And so everyone has something that they recognize from their national music culture, maybe, that can help them get into the song, that makes the song accessible. But it also means it isn't a standard song in one of these genres, because it takes from so many genres. And so once you're in the song, you also get to discover a lot of new things, and that makes it seem so very fresh, at least it does to me. And I really like that. And in that same sense, it kind of is a Eurovision song in that it takes so many different styles. There are traditional national elements, but it is also a very current and modern song, because it sounds like, in a way, a lot of songs on the charts. Latin music is very popular at the moment. It kind of goes with a current music trend, but at the same time doesn't sound like these songs that are on the charts. It sounds very fresh. And so in a way, this is the perfect middling ground in a lot of different ways. And that is why I think this is one of the main contenders to win Eurovision. It also is the Sanremo winner. There are several aspects to this, why this is important. I think some jury members will recognize that the song that wins Sanremo has to be good in a way, or they will think that it has to be good and vote for it for that reason. However, the Sanremo winner also has lots of airplay in lots of countries, not just Italy, but in other countries around the region. Like, for example, I think in Croatia, the songs get a lot of airplay. And so being the Sanremo winner also makes sure that a lot of people have already heard your song and will not hear it for the first time when it is performed on the Eurovision stage. There is also a winning moment in the performance, I think, and that is when she does the a cappella part in the middle, really putting the focus on her voice and also showing how daring she is, that she actually manages to carry this moment without any background music, and how amazing she is as a vocalist. But also, this is the main part of the song where the emotion really comes through, because you really notice her voice. And this is a moment that, if she wins Eurovision, I will say was the winning moment. And then you have the very great message of the song. The lyrics are almost philosophical to me. Like, you have to go through a hard time to also see the good in life. It is about her losing her father at a very young age, the trauma that comes with that, and kind of getting out of it, recognizing that these negative feelings are also part of life, and you need the negative feelings to later also feel the positive feelings. And I think this is a great message. It is not the sort of general message you have in a lot of these female-led pop songs like Girl Power or the song about a relationship. It is really about life, about living life and the human experience in a way. And if jury members really look at the lyrics and recognize that, that will also help her get quite some points, I do think. It does feel very summery and danceable, so it might be a summer hit, and juries, of course, look for this kind of thing. Which song has the best chance of being a hit on the charts? Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it really wrong. Let's just look at Snap, but that might be another argument. Then there is a bit of Italy and Italian bias. People just love the Italian language and will vote for it for that reason, because it just sounds so beautiful, and I agree with that. Anything in Italian really just seems cultural and dramatic and theatrical to me. And Italy bias also, people just love the country, I think, the culture, the food and everything else. So having something that, and people just think, if it's from Italy, it has to be high culture in a way, I think. And I think that that is happening, especially in the northern countries that also go to vacation in Italy during the summer and have very positive associations with the country, and when they hear an Italian song, they kind of remember these positive times, I think, and that might be a big plus. Also, the Big Five will be performing in the semifinals. This is a big plus for the Big Five because they now have the same exposure as the semifinalists. Some songs became viral during Eurovision week, and the Big Five were always outside of that. Now they get to perform in full. People will start talking about these entries as well, and that is a plus for Italy this year, at least. Then the Eurovision spirit. Angelina seems to really accept the Eurovision spirit and understand. She was at all the pre-parties. She gives interviews to the fan media. This might have to do that she's an up-and-coming artist, not like a lot of the artists that Italy has sent in recent years. But it isn't this feeling, I'm a big name and I will go to Eurovision, represent Italy, but everything else doesn't really matter to me. She was in Croatia to perform the song. So she is really, living the moment and living what Eurovision really is. And I think that's a great thing. Then the choreo, I think there is an age too much, I now notice. She will have one of the most famous choreographers who has worked with Rosalia and with others choreograph her. She will have dancers on that stage, and that might also be a plus and make the whole thing more memorable. And then she is the only, really, if you take out Ukraine, which are two female performers, the only female favorite in the top four at the moment. There is Croatia, there is the Netherlands, Nemo, non-binary, and she is the only female, which might also help her stand out a bit more in the field of favorites. And then Italy also has a big diaspora who won Sanremo, who might know Angelina as well. Luxembourg is participating for the first time this year not for the first time in 30 years, with a huge Italian population as well. So that is also always a plus for Italy, I do think. These are all the arguments I could find for Angelina Mango winning Eurovision. Here are some of the ones I found against her winning. One of the arguments would be the very strong competition this year. Obviously, we always talk about that this is a very open year. We have televote favorites like the Netherlands and Croatia. We have jury favorites like France and Switzerland. And we just don't know whether pulling a Duncan, so to speak, doing what Duncan Lawrence did, doing well in both votes, and for that reason winning the whole thing is actually possible this year if there is an incredible, huge margin for the televote winner or the jury winner. That might actually not be possible. We also have two songs that are kind of in a similar lane as La Noia. First, we have Marina Sati with Sadi, which also includes a lot of music styles, also a young singer with a lot of spontaneity and a great performer as well. So they might take votes from each other. And we also have Armenia, which also is a great performance with traditional elements, which might also take away a bit from Angelina Mango's points in a way. And so, yeah, the competition is a very important argument, I think, against her. And the song is also less memorable maybe than some of the other songs in the competition, like Euro Papa, which is very instantly catchy and very out there. Same for Rim Tim Tagidim from Croatia. The Code also seems more experimental than La Noia, and even Mon Amour, which has this very strong emotional moment, might just be a bit more memorable than La Noia. And the argument I had on the pro side, that it is kind of in the middle of everything, might actually also work in its disfavor in a way. We shall see how it works out. I think it will be in its favor, but might also be a contra argument. Then she is a new artist. This hasn't been noticeable in her performances. They have always been great, as I have said. However, when we talk about the Italian diaspora and her being the Sanremo winner, this might be a bit detrimental to her because, for example, Marco Mengoni has been building a career for 10 years. He has fans all over Europe, mostly in the Italian diaspora, but also others. And they probably also voted for him. And that is why Italy got such a good televote last year. And Angelina Mango is just not as known yet and might not profit from that as much. The pressures might also get to her, but I don't think that will happen. We have seen her perform so much, and Sanremo is a big deal as well. Also, again, maybe too much in the middle, too many styles that draw people in. That might happen, but it might also push people away when they think this is a bit too crazy, a bit too much. It doesn't follow any structure that I know. I need something more simple, and maybe then they will go for another entry or for one of the female pop songs that we also have that are just a bit more, following a traditional structure that people recognize and that are more accessible for people. And the song, some people have said, is also quite repetitive. La Noia is repeated quite a lot, and that might also turn some people off voting for it. Then the choreo, I think that could also be a detriment because it might take away from the spontaneity that she shows in all of these performances, the youthful energy that we see if she has all of these dancers and it is a choreographed performance. That might take away from the freshness that I see in it, and it might just seem too similar to a lot of the other songs we have already this year, like Cyprus, like Georgia, like all of these female-led pop songs, Malta as well. So we shall see how they do it and how it looks in the end, but I'm a bit worried about that, to be honest. Then we also have Big Five bias, which might be more visible this year because they get to perform in the semis, but they're already in the final. I think some people will be confused by that and will also think that it's just unfair and not vote for any of the Big Five for that reason. And then also that Italy does really well all the time and just recently won in 2021. And people might think it's time for a new winner like Croatia or Switzerland that hasn't won in a long time and not vote for Italy. For that reason, I don't think it's a good reason, but it is one contra argument that I could come up with. Then the running order, especially if she is very early on, and Greece, Armenia, and some of these other favorites as well are in the latter part of the show, that might really hurt her chances. We don't know the running order yet, but that is a risk that does exist. And then also, obviously, the lyrics are in Italian, which is a pro because people love Italian, but they might also not understand the message of the song, how good it is. And it will be lost on people, I think. There is a big risk of that. And so, yeah, that might be another contra argument. These are all the contra arguments I could find. So it's a bit of a, thought experiment. How many pros, how many contras can we find to kind of give you a different perspective on the song and the artist? Let me know in the comments what you think, which pro and contra arguments you have, which ones you think are bonkers and don't mean anything. Do let me know in the comments. Subscribe to this channel. I will be doing more videos like this one on other favorites. And of course, lots of other videos with Eurovision content. So do subscribe and I'll see you in my next video. See you then and bye-bye.